Hello friends, welcome back into the Green Grass Golf Shop. Today our topic, coming off of our intro video, this will be the first official video on our channel. I want to start this channel off the way I start my lessons, with the setup. But I want to let you in on a little secret. It's that I don't teach the setup. My goal here is to show you how to let your body teach you how it wants to set up, and how to turn that into a proper golf setup to put you into the best position to make the game as easy as possible. I think this is the quickest and most effective way to take the limitations off of your swing and free your body to play the best golf it knows how. I have a secret for you. Your body knows how to swing a golf club much better than you do now, much better than you think you do. Whether you believe it or not, every body is capable of making a consistent swing, consistent enough to take you to playing better golf than you ever thought possible. I'm going to show you how to unlock that here. So let's dive in. Okay, so first and foremost, we always start with the grip. This is my favorite way. I think the best way to get your grip in the same place, the right place, every single time. Modeled after the way Craig Harmon taught the grip over at Oak Hill for 40 plus years. So here I just have one of those reusable grocery bags, which in the year of our Lord Joel Damon, 2024, everyone has, I'm pretty certain, between 1 and a billion of these on hand. I just have some balls and some training aids in here to keep some weight to it. You can use anything, like a dumbbell, 6-month-old child, the Pokemon Score Bunny, anything around 10 pounds or so. I'm just gonna take the top hand of my grip, left hand for the righties and vice versa for the lefties, hold that down by my side, get a really good feel of where my hand is holding that. Down in the fingers where it won't strain the forearms. Hand is a little on top of what we're holding with the palm down. It's a very natural position for the hand to hold something. This is the cool part about learning how your body wants to swing the club, is that is just how easy it is. That is where your golf grip should be. The same place your hands go when you're holding anything else down by your sides with any weight to it. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my golf club, put that right on top of the handles, and that is where your grip should stay for your golf swing. We're just gonna take that hand right in front of us, and it's a really good top hand grip. I didn't have to do anything but pick up a bag to find out where my body wants to hold that club. And what I see from most amateur golfers and most of my students, in the first lesson, the grip is way up here in the palms, where it can't move, but where you feel like you have most control over the club. What this actually does is it really restricts your movement, really restricts your club head speed, your ability to move the club properly. When gripping the club where your body wants to hold it like this, really allows the club to move, create that centrifugal force that everyone is always chasing to create the club head speed, allow the club to naturally release throughout the swing. When your grip is in the right spot, there should be no concern with the release. It'll happen all on its own. Before we put the bottom hand on, we need to make sure our club head is nice and square. So I'll take my club, hold it straight out in front of me. It's a good way to check to make sure that your top hand is in the right place. It should be easily done if the grip and the club is primarily in your fingers where you picked up your golf bag. Now I'm just going to take that empty hand. I'm going to use it to rotate my club so that those scoring lines are pointing straight up 90 degrees in the air. Now when we set our club down, no matter how open that may look to you, our club is perfectly square, grooves perpendicular to our target line, so the club is pointing right at the target. Now from here you take your bottom hand, and the first thing I'll check, one of the biggest things you can do to help line up your grip, is the forearms. First I'll take my bottom hand to get started, put my bottom hand using my palm facing my target, on the right side of my other thumb there. Now when I wrap my fingers around the club, the way the hands connect, you should feel whatever's most comfortable within these three options. We have the interlock, the overlap, the 10 finger, the baseball grip. Now while I don't love the baseball grip, it's not your forever grip. It can be good starting out to get you a better feel of the club and a little less speed. So I want that to be a temporary feature of your grip, but it's fine for just starting out. Now, what that should do is line up the forearms in a nice line, same as your feet and shoulders will be as we move through the setup here. If it doesn't, a good thing to learn is how the hand position changes that arm rotation and alignment. So teach yourself for a moment what moving that hand around does to the forearms. Line them up using that bottom hand. Rotation. Learning how the parts of your body move together and relate to one another, whether you're just getting started or trying to get better, will always give you an advantage over a small percent of golfers who don't care to learn that. Knowing that, why am I doing that on the course, gives you an advantage over a lot of players. Now the final thing with the grip is just the pressure, how you hold the club. Now what I say is, you should be gripping the club as light as possible without letting it slide out of your hands. Now it'll tighten a little throughout the swing, but your body won't let the club go flying, I promise. But the tighter those forearm muscles are, the more that restricts the movement of your arms throughout the swing, the more it engages the chests and shoulders. And those are not the muscles that we want driving the swing. Okay, now that we have our grip set, let's get into the setup. These are called ground mount reflective rods, mailbox reflective posts. They're little like driveway marking sticks. I got them for like $3 each at Home Depot. If you're so inclined, you can also get slightly shorter rods made specifically for golf, but those are like $20 or $30 for a 2-pack. They all work just fine. Every golfer should have at least one, or as you can see, like 8 in their bags like I do. And they all come with these nice rubber cushions, so you don't dent up your clubs in your bag. I wouldn't take those off. We use these as alignment aids, and I'll do a whole separate video on the difference between real versus feel. But to break it down simply, it's incredibly hard to feel exactly what your body's doing when it comes down to such precise angles and movements. So having things like this set up to line up with are incredibly important and really help aid to reinforce the real to match with the feel. Now I have these here just as a reference to line up my shoulders and feet with, but I'll always put this second rod down first to show my target line, and then my foot line off of that just parallel of that. If you've ever heard the term parallel left, this is what your golf instructor means by that. Your feet and shoulders will line up on a parallel path to your target line, which points your club face right at the spot where you want it to hit. You see, if your shoulders are pointed at your target, that means that they're pointed right, your club face is pointing right, and that puts you in a really difficult spot to swing the club properly and stop that over the top move. Again, I'll do a whole separate video on this to show you how the body dictates where your swing goes, a lot more than you realize, but it can make it next to impossible to make a proper golf swing setting up in just slightly the wrong direction. But that's why we have our lovely aids here. So just to start and give myself a base while I'm learning the setup, all I'll do is line my feet up with this first rod here. Not really worried about how far away from the ball or anything else, just getting myself lined up. Now from here, all we need to do is get really athletic. The easiest way to do this, put yourself in the mind of a running back. None of us have done this, I'm sure, but it's fun to pretend. Now, as a running back, I want you to imagine you're about to get drilled, right? You got to absorb that hit and keep your balance. And that should put you in a really, really good spot to swing. Knees slightly bent. You know, you got your weight on your arches, hips high above your feet, behind your chest, behind your knees or in front of your knees, leaning down on the ball. Arms nice and relaxed. Let that club head fall down. Now, I like to do this little drill to check our ball position. Now, what I'll do, since my arms should be hanging nice and straight down, I'll just take my bottom hand off, I'll let that hang straight down, and I'll just swing that in and out. Now, if my grip is in the right spot, that arm should naturally swing right back into its position on the grip. The other thing I think this little check really helps with is squaring the shoulders. When that arm falls off, if they weren't already, that should drop that back shoulder, that right shoulder for the righties down, and put that trail hand back on and keep that shoulder in the right spot. Make sure there's forearms and shoulders are nice and lined up with this first rod here. Now to finish things up, we'll switch over to the other side, talk about ball positioning with the various clubs in your bag. Okay, so now looking at the face-on view here, we can finish up with the setup, talking about ball position, as far as that relates to what we call being backward or forward in your stance, being away from or towards the target, with this rod here being set up in the middle as a reference. Before we do that, just one more thing about body positioning. As the setup position at its core is meant to mimic the impact position. If we're not already naturally doing this with the grip we've created, those hands should press forward just a little bit. One reason being just what I explained, we want this to be the position that our club mimics when we hit the golf ball. And the second reason I'll explain as we go through the last part of our lesson here. But back to ball position, I like to keep it as simple as possible. I find this method one of the easiest to replicate and repeat, and at its core, the reason I like teaching using the methods that I use, that every golfer wants to have that repeatable motion. That's one of the hardest things that golfers try to do, is just make the same motion, the same setup every time. Even if it's not the most perfect setup or swing, just making the same swing, setting up the same way every time is sometimes more than half the battle. So for ball positioning, I like to keep as much the same from club to club that we possibly can. It's another thing that I learned from a wonderful head pro of mine up in Rochester, that he learned from his head pro, Mr. Harmon at Oak Hill. It's the one ball position method. So basically what we're gonna do, just keep the ball in the same place in our stance in relation to our front foot. And adjust our back foot a little wider. With each club, we go longer than our wedges. So if I have a wedge, it's basically gonna start right in the middle, maybe a tiny bit forward to center, with my feet just inside shoulder width. As you can see here, the ball is just a few inches away from the inside edge of my front foot, and that part is never gonna change. The only thing I'll do as the clubs get longer, and with that swing speed naturally getting faster, is give myself a little more of a brace, move that trail foot back a little bit further, so the ball looks like it's more in the front of my stance. So if I have it here for my wedges, I might have it here for my 9-iron. Then for my 6-iron, I'll move it here, 3-wood here, and a driver, all I'm doing is here. Now, as I do this, something very important is happening that I don't want you to fight. You'll see as I move my back foot back, my hands get to be more and more forward in relation to the middle of my feet. And that'll increase this shoulder tilt here. Now, not only is this a natural move that our body wants to make to keep it centered, it also helps us to load up on that back foot during the swing, and this really facilitates that. And with the driver, that tilt really helps with that upward path on the ball. With the irons, it helps us from getting too steep, too in front of the ball. It really helps us in a lot of ways in addition to being what our body wants to do. And finally, from this position, we're ready to make a good golf swing. Now, one thing a good setup doesn't guarantee is that you'll make a perfect swing. That is far from the truth, just like every lesson you'll take and watch. What this setup guarantees, though, is that you're in the best position to make it as easy as possible to make that perfect swing that your body is capable of. This guarantees nothing in your aim and setup or grip will stand in the way of making a good swing and hitting a good shot. From this position, your body will be as free as it can to swing that club, and that is everything we want from the setup position. Thanks everyone so much for watching. If this video helps, please like and subscribe. It really helps us increase our reach and help more golfers. Follow us over on Instagram at Greengrass Golf Shop with 2 P's. Comment any questions or concerns you might have. Check out the link in our description for private lessons and packages. Make sure the videos and the swing tips are working as intended, because most importantly, as with every other video of mine or otherwise, I can't guarantee just watching this and trying to follow along will help. Having a golf professional who can see your setup and your swing, see those moves that you're making, to verify that you're making them the way that you think you are, that is the only way that you can guarantee improvement. And that everything that we're working is working the way it should. Thanks again, everyone. And never forget, the faster you swing it, the less time that there is for things to go wrong. We'll see you on the course.